Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Split Decision. You're here with your hosts, Taku and Para, and today we have a very special guest. We have Penina Davidson from the Melbourne Boomers. Welcome to the Split Decision.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
And before we get into it, obviously we have to mention our sponsors, Cremlon. And by the time this episode's out, they'll have their tracksuits on their website, so make sure you guys go check that out. And they have new shirts and new hoodie designs coming soon as well. So yeah, make sure you keep an eye on their Instagram page and their website for all of that. And then also make sure you're checking out the Instagram and the Twitter and our new YouTube channel that we finished last night. So make sure you're checking that out. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. I guess our first question is, how old were you when you started playing basketball and like that sort of first memory you had playing it? Yeah.
I don't really remember how old I was because, it changes every time I ask my mum. But my first memory was I actually scored for the wrong team. My first basket was for the other team.
Oh, no.
So I was just so stoked about making a basket, I didn't really care.
So you still got the bucket.
Hey,
that's all that
a
matters.
bucket's a bucket. A bucket's a bucket.
It doesn't go down on the stat sheet, but it still counts. So you were born in New Zealand. What was it like growing up there, and like what's the differences that you can tell between basketball there and here?
Well, one of the biggest differences is just numbers. So a lot of the girls growing up played netball. So we just didn't really have numbers. I noticed in Australia, like if for one girl there was like 50 behind her in that one spot. So it's just not as competitive because we just don't have as many numbers being competitive. And that kind of just makes the girls have to play against guys a lot more often in New Zealand. So just stuff like that.
No, right.
And then so growing up, your dad was a basketball coach in England. In New Zealand.
I was like, wow, I didn't know that.
In New Zealand. Do you think that like drew you to play basketball a bit more?
He was actually my coach for about 8 years, so
wow.
you could say so, yeah.
Where'd you get England from?
I don't know. You think of netball, you think of like New Zealand versus England. So I was just like, in my brain, I'm like, England. I don't know.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard. Like when you're a kid, did you ever hit that realization like you could take your basketball to like a pro level at one point? Like you were like, oh, maybe I'm pretty good. I can take this to a professional career.
No, actually, I had no idea. I think I was just kind of taking it more like just straight up like the next phase, as in, can I make the Tall Ferns team? And then after that was, can I go to college? And it wasn't until the end of college I was like, okay, can I go pro? So it wasn't something I thought about when I was growing up, like religiously. It was just kind of like, I wonder, like, what's the next step?
So it was like a one-step process, like I got here, now let's get to there.
Every time.
I didn't know I was always going to keep playing basketball, so it just kind of just happened, really.
Right.
No, every time we ask this question, I'm like expecting someone to go like, "Yeah, I just knew from day one." I was just.
What's that like Kobe mentality?
It's like I'm gonna. But no one. Everyone's just like, but that's like you want. You just want that next sort of thing, that next step. Like,
yeah.
You want to become.
It's different for girls because like my biggest like over pros, I wanted to get a degree. So I was never thinking about pros. I was thinking like, what's my degree going to be? And then, and once I got that, it was like, okay, now I can start thinking about pros.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. Because also you see like,
yeah, that was the same setup for the future, because you can only have a basketball career for so long.
Yeah, but for women, it's a bit different. Yeah.
Mm.
And you also see like typically like for like the NBA and NBA, they go like 1 year, 2 years at college.
Yeah.
But like WNBA and WNBL, they spend like 3-4 years and you get that degree as well. So it makes sense. And then growing up, did you have any basketball idols you looked up to and like wanted to model your game after?
I had a Lisa Leslie jersey for a while. I thought she was really cool. Candace Parker, Lauren Jackson. loved her game. And
Right.
from the men's side, it was always Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, damn.
Yeah.
I'm like halfway through watching the documentary. I'm only up to like episode 6. I'm still just like, all right, maybe he's the GOAT. maybe
Maybe,
LeBron's on his
bro.
level.
What do you mean, maybe?
I can't say yes or no yet. I gotta finish it. Other than basketball, did you have any like idols though?
What was that, sorry?
So other than basketball, like in general, did you have any people that you looked up to or like growing up?
Yeah. You mean just like just outside people?
Yeah, outside of basketball, yeah.
Jimi Hendrix was another cool one.
Jimi Hendrix, wow.
Madonna was actually not Madonna. Sorry, I can't think of her name off the bat for some reason. Marilyn
Monroe.
Monroe. She was so cool. You know, just like her stance in society at her time, and you know, there's a bunch of like cool little artsy ones like that.
Legend, yeah, she was a legend, Marilyn Monroe. Jimi Hendrix, he's a legend.
Yeah, he is.
So in high school, you were named the 2012 and 2013 Young Sports Person of the Year. What was it like to win that award?
It was real humbling because I came from a really like good sporting area. So it was nice to feel recognized for like women's basketball, because women's basketball wasn't so popular, at least back then. So it was very humbling and just felt very honored.
Yeah, and then in 2013, you led your team to a national title and was named the tournament MVP after scoring 33 points with 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks in the championship game. What do you remember, like, looking back at this game? Like, what was the standout for you? Like, what was the big thing?
Was that for school?
Yeah, I think so.
We never won for school.
Oh, you never won?
I think it was club, wasn't it? I can't pronounce
2013.
it.
Yeah, in 2013. I can't pronounce it. What was it?
Taku?
Yeah,
that one. Sorry. Not school. I think it was club. Can't remember.
Oh, pardon?
What was your question, sorry?
What do you remember? Yeah, you
go. I'm not gonna lie, I actually don't remember any of that. but to be like more positive about that, I think there's just so many cool things that happens like in your sporting career, sporting journey, like over the years, that you just end up having a whole bunch of just really cool memories. Yeah, so like I don't really remember anything about that, but it's fine because I just have so many other cool memories.
Yeah.
I mean, the Just Joyce title, my cool sporting memory. So
yeah, you weren't even involved in it though, weren't you?
I mean, still.
You sat on the bench.
Hey.
Still a part of the team.
Positive
vibes.
So then after you won the scholarship to play basketball at the University of California, like what was that feeling when you found out that you were able to go over there?
Well, it was mixed at first because I originally had my eyes set on Stanford, but because my grades fell off and like they weren't that great, and I wasn't the best at school in high school because all I cared about was basketball, I didn't actually make the cut for Stanford. Like they offered me a scholarship, but I didn't make the school. So the Stanford coach put me to Cal, and that's how I found out about Cal. So it was mixed emotions because I thought I had my eyes set on Stanford, and I ended up going to the rival school. But that's not to say like it wasn't. It was shortly after I realized just how amazing Cal is, and I was just overwhelmed and just fell in love with the school itself.
So how was that experience like California? Was there anything that stood out to you that was like special for you when you were there?
I mean, like California is one of those places that people talk about, everywhere. It's just, it's so like monumental. And I was kind of living there for 4 years. So I was I'm still trying to catch up with myself, even just being there. It was insane. It was an amazing experience with like amazing people everywhere. It's very like New Zealand and Australia, but just American. So you know, like Australians and New Zealanders are bound to love California.
Yeah, right.
And you always hear about it. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, like I want to go to
Oh, yeah.
California, stuff
Yeah.
like that as well.
Everywhere too. Like it's in the art, it's in the music, it's in movies. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So then you got your first college start against Cal Poly. Do you remember playing that game and like getting that note, like getting told you were gonna start that game?
But I can't remember that exact game, but I can honestly tell you that I was probably just happy, just because you know, like I went from practice player when I first got there to starting. So I would have been happy to some extent because I would have known I worked hard.
Do you reckon you were nervous before the game?
Oh yeah, big time. I'm not gonna lie. Let me tell you this. In my senior year, I cried at halftime because I was so nervous in my first senior year game. Yeah, that
wow.
nervous thing before games is real.
All right. So you're a starter for all 64 games of your final 2 years. Was that special to you anyway? Like, did it show anything about your game and how you've improved over the years?
Yeah, I was just happy, you know, that I was kind of, because I know that sometimes when some of us New Zealanders at least go over, we struggle, just, you know, cultural shock, just different hoop, all of it's just on another level. So it kind of showed me to myself at least that I was adapting in some way and, you know, kind of finding my ground.
Right.
Well, like that's also just starting in general is sick. So getting to start for those 2 straight years as well, that's huge. So then you played for them for 4 years, like you said. Do you when you look back, what's your favorite best memory of just being at college and in America?
I got a bunch of favorite ones, and it just comes in little things you know, just walking through, because we recently just got named in the top 4 universities in the USA, and I've been known it was the #1 public university in the world. So just walking through the #1 public university in the world was always just insane to me and was a favorite memory. Yeah, just little stuff like that, just looking at the buildings and just being in a classroom full of people. You know, one of my professors worked on, you know, that movie, I think it's called, it's that Pixar movie with all about the emotions and stuff, Inside Out.
Oh, Inside Out, yeah.
Yeah,
That's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, my professor worked behind the psychology of that. One of my
Wow.
professors, and so it was just insane being in a classroom full of people who were doing these massive things, and you know, all I do was put a ball in a hoop. And my roommate was the world champ for weightlifting.
What?
Yeah, it was just so sick to be around all these dope people doing super cool things. Yeah, it was just real amazing.
I mean, you can't undermine your own talent because you were then named for your national. You've been named for your national team of New Zealand. What was that feeling like for you being able to play for your country, at all junior level?
It was one of my favorite basketball memories. Yeah.
When your name gets called,
it was definitely just one of the most satisfying, all that hard work paid off feelings I've ever had.
All right.
Do you remember when you first got that notice that you're gonna be able to play for them? You were told you're gonna be playing?
Yeah, I remember because I was really nervous. So I didn't know if I was gonna make the team or not. And then when I heard, it was just instant relief, and then it was just straight up happiness.
Just pure happiness.
Yeah.
Because in 2012, you were named the New Zealand Player of the Tournament in the FIBA Oceanic Women's Under-19 tournament, and you averaged 14.7 points per game. What was it like to receive such a high reward for you? Did it speak to your I'm trying to think, what's the word? What am I looking for?
Talent?
Did it speak to how good you were at, your feeling during the tournament?
I didn't even know I got that. I don't think I knew I got that.
I mean, we know more than
the research.
the research.
No, I actually didn't know. I don't think I knew I got that. But no, I mean, playing for your country is always just like, it doesn't matter, because we were used to, we were a small country, so we got a few losses. Like, I don't think I had many wins at all, playing in age groups at least. So just the being able to put on a black jersey, what we call it, was just a privilege in itself, regardless if we won or lost.
So like when going to these tournaments, do you ever like have like sort of mindset of approaching them playing such high competition?
I mean, it changed over the years, like, and that was something I learned getting older, was I could no longer just show up, because I used to think you could just show up and as long as your mental was, I'm ready for this, then you'd be fine. But no, nowadays it's, you got to put the work in behind the scenes, and as long as I have confidence in that, I think I'll be okay during tournaments.
Right. So in 2018, you're also a part of the team that won the William Jones Cup, which is an international basketball tournament organized by the Taipei Basketball Association, for people that didn't know that. What was it like to bring home the silverware for your country, like the experience that you got from that?
It was amazing, because it was one of the first times I've won that many times in a black jersey. Like, the motivation no longer became, you're playing for your country, this is cool. It was like, you're playing for your country and we could actually win. So there was just a whole new level of motivation that I hadn't experienced before, playing for the national team. And it was just really exciting, because you could like take on, like after we won William Jones, it was like, wow, like going to the Olympics could actually be a real thing.
Did you have your like family behind you? Like, were your parents there and stuff? Did that fuel you to like do better?
No, they weren't there, but playing overseas kind of helped me a little bit, learning how to play without them always being in the stands, and just knowing that they're probably watching the live stats somewhere.
Okay, yeah. So then, in 2019, you guys got second, which is like, what was that sort of experience like making it to the finals and then like having to lose that game?
We were tired. I remember that. I was tired because we had an intense week of camp, but it was just kind of, like, tired isn't really a thing. Well, if it is a thing, you'll probably lose in international. So it was actually a good, like, pick heading into like Olympic stuff.
What was your like what was the thing that you took from playing at a national junior level? Like, what was that one thing that you took away? You went, man, that was really like good for me. It really pushed me forward in my basketball career.
In junior level, we said.
Yeah, in the junior level, yeah.
It was knowing, like, if I wanted to aspire to play on like a women's level, I needed to put in work, and that was really cool. It was just like seeing that I could get all that junior stuff, playing in front of in a jersey. I could get that on a woman's level, and just kind of aspiring, like taking it up a new level.
Right.
So then, now you're a regular player for the New Zealand women's national team. What does that sort of mean to you, getting to represent them so frequently?
I mean, I still kind of get those same little butterflies I got first names. Yeah, it's not something I can ever get used to, and it's still the same privilege every single time, if not more, just because I am getting older, and now, like, we have our coach Guy Malloy, and he's amazing. He's just absolutely transformed all of our games, and it's exciting to finally go from just playing because I love my country to playing and actually winning.
Right. So you commenced your WNBL career in the 2018-19 season with the Adelaide Lightning. What was the reasoning for getting behind Adelaide? Was there any specific reason you wanted to join Adelaide, or?
I knew the coach Chris Lucas, and I liked him. I had worked with him before in Ferns, because he assistant coached in Ferns during one tour, and I really liked him. So.
Right.
sorry, your first, do you like, when you look back on your first professional game, like, what do you like remember from just stepping on the court and like seeing the crowd and everything?
Well, Berkeley prepared me for that. So it was just like an extension of college, if anything. Because Berkeley, we got pretty decent crowds, and it was very professional in Berkeley as well. So it was very much just like playing in Berkeley again, just in Australia.
Right. So with the Lightning, you guys made the WNBL finals, losing in Game 3 to Canberra. We've heard that, we've had other people on and tell us that Canberra was they're a team to beat. That was like hard. The fans were pretty crazy. What was that experience like for you though, coming up against a team like that?
It was legit. I mean, you can't get mad at playing good basketball, and they played good basketball. So it was legit playing against like a solid team. They were solid. They were nice to watch.
Right. They were tough to play against. Couldn't get
Someone's gonna take Canberra down. Someone's gonna.
Come on, Melbourne.
When you look at the comparisons, do you see any differences between your like how you've grown from college to your professional game?
Yeah, college is very structured, so a lot of it is running through whatever systems you run, and I notice that now when I watch other college teams play, like they just vary through the systems, whereas with my current coach in pros, he's a bit more but I'll give you the tools to do so. It's not completely free ball. And I've noticed, so it's better, like I finally know how to play with a bit of structure, but I'm also knowing how to play with a bit of freedom.
So this season was your first season for the Melbourne Boomers. What was the decision behind signing with the Boomers?
1000% wanted to live in Melbourne.
Right.
Hey.
Most livable city.
Most livable city.
Most livable city. That's all I say. Yeah.
So then, this season you guys lost in the semifinals, I believe, to that Canberra team again. When you reflect on like that series and the season as a whole, like what do you take away from it all?
Just great women's basketball, honestly. Like, take away us losing, I'm sure it would have just been really cool to watch, such high level basketball being played. And I remember that one game we had against Dandenong, the Rangers, whatever, we just packed it out, and some of my friends came for the first time and they were just baffled at how amazing it was just to be at a game like that. And I was like, so there's just so much good women's basketball being played.
Right. So playing alongside someone that we recently interviewed, Lindsay Allen and Sophie Cunningham, have you been able to pick up anything from them, like any basketball knowledge? Do they give you like any help here and there,
Yeah, I mean, both of the. So I played against Sophie in college, and I always thought she was a super cool player, and to finally play with her was real. I mean, their guards, and watching them was amazing. Like in practice, I'd even just love watching them play. So it was cool to finally play with them, and I guess take away from them. It's kind of hard because they're guards, but it was just nice watching them play.
So you've had a pretty successful career so far, but like in like 10, 20 years when you look back, are there any other goals that you set out that you wanna complete?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to school. Hopefully get a psychology degree because I have a sociology degree now, but not completely happy with it. So, and then I'm trying to get my art kicked off.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have a segment where we get some followers to ask some questions for us to you. Now, the first question, this one's from us firstly, because we always have to have this debate. Who, like you already said who it is, but who is your NBA GOAT?
NBA GOAT?
Yeah, NBA.
I'm actually going to say LeBron.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, baby.
No.
LeBron.
It's phenomenal. And
we need to have it.
I mean, off court, I'm gonna say Dennis Rodman actually. Apart from his recent political stuff, but his just like some of his journey, like aspects and mental stuff, is absolutely incredible. And I don't know if you guys saw that after his 30 for 30, he had an interview for man, and he was just so.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman, oh man, he's a character. I love him. He's such a good character.
Yeah, and he was so ahead of his time too.
I reckon.
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
Ahead of his time. 100%.
I mean, dude married himself.
I know. Who else is doing it? Man's friends with Kim Jong-un. Who else is doing it? Donald Trump couldn't do it. Who did it? Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, imagine.
I love that, man. I'd love to just like meet him one day. Just like, hey, how you going? That's all. Just say hi.
Dennis Rodman on the podcast soon.
Yeah, well, that.
One could only hope.
Oh yeah. So then, and then also, who would you say you're like your WNBA goat is?
I'm gonna go with Lauren Jackson because she's from our side of the world.
Lauren
and
Jackson.
I love that.
Lindsay Allen said the same thing, didn't she, as well?
No, she didn't. I can't remember. She said someone else. I can't remember now though. But I mean, Tamika Catchings.
Yeah, Tamika Catchings. Yeah, legend, Hall of Fame. Is it official inductee?
Yeah, inductee.
So, here's one. So, what is the one thing that pro athletes do/go through that fans would know about?
That they do that fans don't know about?
Yeah.
One thing they have to go through that fans wouldn't know about.
We sleep a lot. We just, like we're so tired. Sometimes we do like just a whole lot of nothing.
Like, how often do you reckon you train like a week?
Depends on team. So like with Guy, we were training about 2 hours, maybe a bit over in the morning. If you do, and then some days we'll go straight to weights. So that's like another hour, which is, like about 3 hours a day. And then if you do anything additional, then there's that. And that might not sound like a lot, but when you're training, it can
training
get
for
tough.
straight hours.
Yeah, so then the next like 12 hours or whatever is usually just eating and just nothing, sleeping.
Sleep.
I mean, I can't even sit through an exam for 2 hours. I couldn't imagine training for 3 hours.
Yeah.
my brain just doesn't want to sit there for 2 hours and concentrate.
It was exactly like me. Like I knew it was about to be that 1.5 hour mark because my brain would just switch off.
It just reminds me of my English exam. I start just drawing on my paper, then I forget I have to write an essay.
No, when you read something and then like one word stands out to you and then you start thinking about like some weird stuff, like you just go on a tangent. Like, one word. And
it just connects.
Yeah, it just connects for no reason.
Yeah, and I'll do that in practice.
Just like looking at a hoop. Yeah, that hoop's orange. They start thinking of random stuff.
Man,
so you've done some pretty memorable stuff already, but what would you say is your favorite memory of your playing career?
Playing career?
Yeah.
One would definitely be playing against Lauren Jackson. My first debut was against her. Another would be, we played at home for the national team, and they put on a massive like show, and they did a whole haka for us, and they did the national anthem, and that made me tear up.
Oh, that's really nice.
That's amazing.
I mean, you've already answered this, but this one, it says, do you still get nervous about your game?
Oh yeah. I know that sometimes, and I can't speak for everyone, but sometimes we have this like certain face, where it's like, oh, they're just chilling, they don't care or whatever. But no, like game anxiety is definitely a very real thing, and I still get it. So,
I mean, because you're always expected to go out there and perform, and you sometimes you get like nervous, so you have to perform for the team and stuff like that.
Yeah, and some days you suck and some days you don't. It's just,
How it is, yeah.
Depends, like some people say nerves is a good thing because it means you care. And honestly, I don't know if it's a good thing or not. It doesn't feel great, But once you finally learn how to push past it, then it'll be fine.
Right.
It's a bit of you know what I'm thinking of when PE when they're like that little spectrum of arousal, and then you have to be in the middle for nervousness. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I'm just like, I can't put that dial like on the middle. Sometimes it goes
Sometimes I'm just freaking out.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'm on one end, the other days I'm on the other end.
So
You can
tell me
perfectly
in the
balance
middle,
it.
but I don't know how to manage to do that. So I mean, I guess the only thing you could really do is like try your best to make your surroundings so that it can kind of go that way. But
I just
all
thought
that
that someone
stuff
just
annoying to me because it's like, yeah, I know I want to be here, but I don't know how to get there. So
I can't do what you're telling me. Come on, man. It's not that easy.
I just saw some guy just turning it down. Like, nah, I'm too nervous. Let me relax. Let me relax a little bit.
My life would be significantly easier if I could do that.
Oh man, I know. Everyone would be easier. But before a game, do you have any like specific routine that you go through that you have to do to ensure that you think, oh man, I've done this, I'll have a good game now? Do you have
Superstition.
Well, not necessarily, just because like I don't really have any superstitions, just because the game itself is so unpredictable. So, you know, like there's not going to be one thing that's going to determine the game itself. So there's one piece of advice, you know, like going back to that dial thing, this lady in college gave me was, you know, like you want to get to that optimum whatever, and she said sometimes listening to, you know, like all the music we listen to get pumped up and stuff,
right?
Sometimes that can do more damage than good. You actually have to time when you listen to that, because what happens is you listen to all this pumped up music, you'll be pumped up for like an hour before, and then you'll get tired by half time. Because you've been pumped up for a whole hour before the game. So she actually told me, try listen to calm music and then time it like 20, like you know, like a nice amount of time before the game, however you can last for, and then go from there. So if there's any superstition I have, I just try like chill out, whatever that looks like before the game.
Could be anything. Like, do you do like meditating before a game, do you think?
Well, just, you know, it depends how I feel. Like if sitting outside looking at a tree is going to work, then I'll do that. If listening to some calm music is going to work that day, then I'll do that. There's no set thing. It's just whatever makes me feel calm in that moment.
Right.
That makes sense as well. You're like, you don't want to be like just like bopping at like 1 hour and a half before a game and you just get the game. It's like, what am I doing?
Yeah, and mentally tired too. Like physical is another thing, but mentally you're just going to be smashed.
Yeah, that's right.
Good advice for everyone. Don't jam out. Don't jam out too early. So then when you're not playing basketball, like what do you like to do?
I like just doing anything crafty, honestly. I love drawing. If I'm not drawing, then I usually like wearable fashion. So whatever I can recreate fashion-wise, I'll try to do that.
Right. Wow. Do you reckon? Yeah. Fair enough.
Oh, I read that you were looking to start your own sort of fashion sort of thing.
Yeah, and honestly, I did try. It's very nerve-wracking doing it by yourself, though. So I'm currently talking to like my siblings and my family friends about, you know, doing it with them. It's not something I really want to do by myself, but yes, I'm hoping to do that just with family and family friends.
Right. So, if you're not a professional basketball player, where do you think you would be? Like, or what do you think you'd be doing today?
Probably that's why I want to go back and get my psych degree. Probably something to do with helping kids.
Right.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Psych.
Psych. Yeah, you do psych. You do psych. Yeah.
So our sort of final question is: do you have any advice for young kids out there who are looking to go pro in basketball in the future that would help them along the way?
Yeah. Don't be afraid for when you're younger. Don't be afraid to do anything and everything that gives you L's, if that makes sense. And sorry, I'll elaborate. So like, I was awful when I first started basketball, and to combat that, I was just going to go into a gym by myself and work on everything that I sucked at. And I, you know, I wasn't afraid to do that because I sucked at it and I didn't want to suck at it anymore. And what's the best time to do that when you're by yourself? No one can laugh at you. No one can do anything. And then as soon as I started getting more confident, you know, like little things like doing ladders by myself, so my footwork got better, left hand, so my left hand wasn't as bad. Then when I started getting a little bit more confident, started playing against guys because I knew guys were just going to constantly, you know, give me L's, and they did. And that was good at the time because I needed to. What is that one quote by MJ? You miss 100% of something like that, or like something like he is the man because he failed so many times before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is 100% true. You got to fail, and you got to be okay with failing, and it's called adversity, and you got to be best friends with adversity because that's where you get your best growth. So if I'm going to say anything, is just don't be afraid to fail.
Right. That is a great way
to end. That is good. I think it's the best one we've had. That's
right,
the best 100%.
That is the best one we've had. Don't be afraid to fail. You know, people are going to hate, but you got to get past it, you know, if you want to be up there with professionals. But
I mean,
anyway,
it feels awful, but yeah, you just got to do it.
Yeah, 100%. That's going to end this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're an absolute legend for joining us on such short notice.
Thanks.
And make sure you like, comment, subscribe, check out the new YouTube channel, and 5
stars.
Oh, 5, yeah. I was 5 stars on Apple Podcast, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Fuck you, big boy with that big broom. Big boy, how I come through. Big boy with that brand new, cause I'm killing it.